Hey, this is Neha again, and welcome back to the third episode of Audio Bites podcast. Extremely thrilled to be on the third and to have an equally special guest for you guys today too. We have Miruna Magar. She is the hope apparently, and she definitely looks like she has the potential to take the Nepali movie industry by the storm. Let's welcome her and find it off ourselves.
Thank you.
Hi Miruna.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
It's my pleasure.
So what are you busy with currently?
I just finished my shoot for a movie, my fourth movie.
Fourth movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just finished the scenes and now I'm waiting for the songs shoot to happen, which is supposed to happen next month.
Next month. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, and I have a few projects that I'm talking to the people and I haven't confirmed anything yet.
So all those projects are on the pipeline.
Yeah.
My friend producer of the show and an absolute Miruna Magar fan, I have to tell you. And I know for a fact that he'll never be able to say to you in person, so I just said it. You can thank me later, Kailash, and by thank I mean set me on fire. But yeah, he told me that Miruna Magar has accepted our invitation and she's going to be your next guest. And by no means I'm trying to sound shady or even close to it. I admit that I live under the rock most times, but I did not know who you were. So instead of going up online and looking out for you, I decided to ask my sister, who is of course younger to me, and in a reflex very excitingly she gave away all the possible informations about you. You know that you're from the UK and you've come to Nepal to pursue acting, and you're very pretty, you're very talented, and all of that, and followed by that a lot of other young girls and boys, and of course older also, and they all knew about you. So I want to know, because I asked them later if they've watched all your movies or not, but the answers were mostly on the negative side, So I want to know, how do you intend yourself to recognize yourself as an actor or the characters you play in the movies, as opposed to just Miruna Magar as an individual?
Obviously, to be honest, I didn't come to Nepal to pursue acting in the first place.
Okay.
So when I came here in 2016, it was I took a gap year actually. I had finished my bachelor's degree in sociology. So I came to Nepal for a gap year, and then I didn't have a certain plan that I was going to do this, I was going to do that. I wanted to volunteer at an organization, and that didn't happen. And then I had some free time, so I decided to join Actors Studio, which was in Tomsikil by Anup Baral sir. Okay. And my mom, being a theatre artist herself, I was very inspired by her as well since my childhood. So I decided to join there. And then by joining there, even after 3 months of that course, I was still, I think, the only one in the whole class who used to say, even though I don't pursue acting, I'm going to use this knowledge somewhere else in my life. And then we had a production called Katha Destin, which happened back in 2016, I think around May. It should be around May. And then that's when the first movies team, my debut movie, Lal Puja's team, casted me. They called me for an audition or a screen test for their movie. And then, even then, I wasn't sure I was going to do acting. But then I thought opportunities should not be declined.
Be wasted,
And then I talked to my mom and I read the script, and even the artists were really well-known, very good artists as well. So I decided to join. And then by doing that, I think I was surrounded by people who were so much into acting, and they all had so much respect for their work. So I was inspired by them. And from then as well, I've always said I don't want to be like a superstar or a celebrity. I always want to be someone who has respect for this work, this field of work. And I want to be known as obviously a versatile artist. And I think one of the main reasons people have not been able to watch my movies are because it hasn't been the commercial, success that people say. But whoever has watched it has appreciated it. And then that's how I just want to be a good, a good artist, I think.
But what do you think we lack, in Nepal, Nepali movie industry? Is it the content? Because we sort of in a way struggle to get the attention of the younger audiences of our country to watch Nepali movies. And I can for sure tell, because I don't remember as a young girl myself thinking that, watching Nepali movie was even an option or one of the coolest thing to do. Of course, over the years, over time, I've come to love love our product because I know I have to and I should. It's very important. But I did not grow up with the similar feeling. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
I think it depends both on the filmmakers and the audience. I always say the audience has to be more accepting of the fact that there's still filmmakers who are experimenting with different genres and they're trying to come up with something new for the audience. But what has happened is I think we lack a little bit of individualism as well. Like, you know, like the kind of I don't know how to put it. It's basically like we have to be more accepting of the fact that people are experimenting, and also the fact that there are more than certain genres in the film industry, and it's not only about entertainment. I mean, it is about entertainment mainly, but we have to let them experience different, you know, like experiment different things as well. So. It's both ways. Filmmakers have to be more experimental and the audience have to be more accepting.
Yes. So you came all the way from UK to Nepal to pursue acting, right? Of course, this is your home country, and but I believe your entire family lives in the UK, right?
Yes.
So I'm guessing your home is where your family is.
Yeah.
But you know, like. Was it a no-brainer, or did you had to literally, you know, sit yourself down, your parents down, and convince them into what you wanted to pursue for yourself? Because as much as we'd hate to admit it, Nepalese parents do not leave their kids alone. Let us just put it on the table. And especially in this particular field of work, which is apparently very skeptical to a lot of people, right? So, yeah.
I think I was very lucky in that sense because my parents were very supportive of this, and especially my mom. She was actually the one who motivated me or like persuaded me to go ahead with this creative field as well, because she has been in this field herself and she understands how it can be, and like she understands, she really respects art and like, you know, acting in that sense. And then my dad is very supportive as well. As long as you're doing the right thing and, you know, like you're not going in the wrong direction, it's okay to pursue your dreams. And for me, I think I had to sit myself down and talk to myself about this because growing up in the UK, I think we all are very much into this very you know, like straight line, like go to college and then go to university, start working 9 to 5 and then become like make a career for yourself. And then this was very it was a risk for me, and having that supportive family really helps. But even my faraway relatives, there are some people who told me like
not to get into it. Yeah.
I think one of my relatives said, he said, "ए अब तिमी चाहिँ हिरो नि हुनु जाने काम नगर्ने भन्नुभएको." So even it's very difficult for people to see this as a career and like a profession. So I was lucky because my parents were supportive. So
like about the aforementioned skeptical part, there are a lot of parents and there are a lot of families, a lot of people who think that you know, harassment of all kinds, you know, abuse of all kinds is very easily prevalent in this particular business. Of course, to me, it's very bizarre because I feel like it's a, you know, pandemic and it happens literally everywhere, you know, across professions and sadly so. But I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of girls and boys and young people and, you know, if not, who wants to pursue acting as for their career, right? So, but perhaps not as understanding parents as you have. So what do you have to say to enable them to just, you know, like go at it?
It is very difficult from my position to tell them to just come and pursue it because of all the hardships that's involved, and especially if you don't have a supportive background and if you don't have parents or friends who support you in it can be difficult. But there are still people pursuing it, and with hard work and, you know, consistent effort, you do reach a certain level as well. And I think it's changing nowadays. People are taking it seriously, more seriously than before. And there is less judgmental people in our society as well. And I think you just have to be consistent with it and show your parents that you're really serious about it and not just take it as a hobby or just, you know, like I'll try it and then I'll just let it go. It has to be very like, you have to work hard for it as well. So, and to the parents as well, I'd like to say, you know, I think it's very important to have trust in your children and have a mutual understanding. So the kids also have to speak to their parents about their dreams and not just, you know, have that perception that, oh, my parents are going to go against it. Like, do not have that. Just try and talk to them, at least talk to them, and then they might understand it. So,
so you've done like how many projects so far?
I've done 4 so far, but only 2 has released. Yeah, 2 has
Two.
released, and the third one is out. The second one, it stopped in the middle of the production. So
Okay. But allegedly,
Yeah.
your projects have not done as well as expected. Is it difficult, Miruna, in the sense that you have to, in a way, muster up your courage to rebuild or reinvent that same passion, that conviction, that dedication towards your job,
Yeah.
when in result it's not as much as you put into in real, you know?
Yeah, it can be like heartbreaking when you put in
Yes.
like almost 200% of effort, but the results are not the same. But I think the most important thing is to love your work and love the process of the whole thing, because if you just fall in love with the results, you're going to be very disappointed, because you never know how the movies are going to do.
Yes.
So you have to be in love with the process and have I think have confidence in yourself that you can portray another character again, and you have to have hope that there are other filmmakers who appreciate your work and not just the result, the commercial success of your movies.
Yes.
So I think that's very important.
Trying to get out of the circle, but not really, because I feel like it's totally relevant to all of us today, and especially your field of work, which is social media. Even though I feel like the entire term in itself is a rebuttal to the views or the ethos it actually stands for, or it actually holds on to. It can be very useful to a lot of people, especially who are in that position, who are famous and all. What is this, fixation? What is this craze about social media amongst the youth today?
I think it's all to do with we didn't have a voice. I think many years ago, I think before social media, you had to in order to have a voice and in order to say your opinions or ideas, share it publicly, you had to be either a public figure or you had to be at a certain level in your life to be able to do that. But I think it has given a voice to everyone, and you can publicly share your opinions or your ideas and what you feel about something, and you can create an image of yourself. I think most of the time we always put out our positive, happy moments in social media. I think that's what it gives people a hope that you can be this person even if you're not. You can create an image for yourself, and I think that's a craze. And for us, for the people from the film, this media field and everything, I think it has become very important for us because we share all of our works through social media. We promote our movies and everything through social media, and it has helped us get very close to our audience. It's a one-on-one conversation that we get to have with our audience.
Yes, true.
So I think that's that. And
also fame, it comes very simultaneously with your work, right? And I'm pretty sure that you had already foreseen it. You had already were already prepared for it. But was it difficult initially?
I always even now I don't feel like the fame has or I am famous got me, because I never. I think it was because I never craved for it in the first place, that even when I got it, I was very thankful for it. I was very grateful, but I never let it get to me. And by this, not saying I'm very famous or I've got a lot of fame, but all the attention that I got, I was just very. I think the most amount of audience that I had to face the fame kind of feeling was during the promotional tour of Rose that I did. We went to different cities in Nepal, and that's when I was able to come to face to face with all this audience. And I had this in my mind that I thought no one would know me, no one would recognize me, but then there are people shouting your name, and then I think it can be overwhelming.
Yes.
And
because after the launch of this podcast, I got 150 followers requests on Instagram, and it might not be a lot to a lot of people, but to me it's massive. It's it's a lot. So it was very overwhelming, and I had to literally take a week off. To actually sit down and then take a back seat, analyze the whole situation in perspective. Am I really worth it? Am I worthy of all those 150 extra eyes on me, at me, or up to me? Because I feel like I'm a mess. It's not even I'm so cute, I'm messy kind. It's legitimate mess, in bold letters. So I was pretty scared at first. Of course, eventually I let them all in. It happened in a flick of a second, and if that happens, I'm okay with it. But then otherwise it can get very scary also, right?
It is, because everything you do and all your. That's why I'm not really vocal, or I don't publish everything that I'm doing in a day-to-day basis in my social media, because there are quite a lot of followers, and I feel I need that distance. Like, I have to have me for myself.
Yes,
I don't want to give it out to the public. And so I mostly just post like pictures of places I'm going to, or like, just, and I think that's the thing. You have to have that safe distance where you don't get so much into the audience and the crowd. And
very true. I feel like I can totally relate to that. How much do you keep up with the number game here in the social media? Because you have like 36,000 something followers on your Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And you get like thousands of likes on your every post.
Yeah.
So do you at times sort of tend to assess yourself with it? Because like once you're inside the labyrinth, you kind of feel that it's a requirement, it's a necessity. So yeah.
It can get to you in like after you reach a certain point, you're like, oh my God, why? Like at first it was like, why am I getting all these followers?
Yes.
And then there reaches a point where it's like, oh, okay, I have this amount of followers, and then do you think I'm gonna get more followers? But then you have to keep telling yourself, this is not like, don't let the numbers validate you, or like, don't let yourself go to that point where you're like desperate for these numbers. So it doesn't really like, I look at it as I always try to tell myself bright side, and always tell myself, okay, maybe this is because of the work I'm doing. It's nothing to do with me personally. It's my work, and I always tell myself that. So,
but is there a pressure also? I think because social media is everything about consistency, right? As long as you're consistent, you're noticed, and you're alive. Especially for you guys, because like you said, you guys connect to or interact with your fans or your followers through social media, which leads to this development of a virtual connection between you and your fans, right? And as bizarre as it may sound, virtual connection is a reality. It's a thing today, So yeah.
Yeah, it is important to be visible and to be out there and interact with your audience, but not to the point where you're losing yourself. Like you have to be visible because of the kind of work that we do. We need to be up to date with our audience. I mean, you have to. And sometimes, like when you don't update your story or don't post for some time, you actually get messages from your fans or like followers saying, "Oh, well, where are you? What are you doing?" So I think before I used to find it very like absurd that I have to post every almost like every 2 or 3 days. But then I realized because of the work that I do, I have to be up to date with my followers, and then I have to keep updating my stories. So you do have that pressure as well.
Yes. What about the social media validation, Miruna? Like you mentioned, just now.
I think I don't really know what to say about it, because I think it depends on the individual as well. But then it does give you some to some levels, to some extent, it validates you. But it all depends on you. Like you should not fall into that that trap of like validating yourself through social media. It has to come down to yourself and how you see yourself. And sometimes, like for example, some pictures get more likes than does it pinch you someday? Because there must be days where some of your pictures does not get as much like as the rest of your pictures does. It's
usually
just confusing because you don't know what it actually is that people like or not like.
I know.
So
even if like my pictures get like 50 to 60 likes, and then it's still like, oh, why is that happening? I think it's very confusing. You never know. It's people, and I think it has a lot to do with their moods, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I like someone's picture, sometimes I don't. But it's all to do with how you see yourself, and you have to be. It has to be. You have to come into terms with yourself. Like how you see yourself in your own eyes rather than other people's eyes. So just recently, I really want to say this. Just recently, I wanted to post a picture of myself, with an undertone to the world that I don't really give two shit about how I look. I've gained a lot of weight recently. I used to be a very fat or like a chubby kid also, but recently I gained a lot of weight, and then people were in a way shading me for it. So that picture was kind of a message to the world that I don't really give, a horse ass about how I look, about my stretch marks, or my double chin, all of that. So I was going to upload the picture, and then I I invariably ended up in the filter area, you know, and I did not know that I was filtering my pictures so much until I had to literally nudge myself to make myself realize how hypocritical I look and sound, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, I uploaded the picture. I still have it in my Instagram with the filter, of course. And I have decided to never delete it because I feel like it's a reminder to myself that it's really okay, that I'm only a work in progress and I'm just a human. And there are days when I want to put up a face that I'm too cool to be true to the world. And there are also days when I'm actually too cool to be true, you know. Like there are days when you can feel like you can take the entire world head on. And there are also days where, you know, holding your pee for as long as you can is the most powerful move we make, right? So it just, I feel like social media also in a way over glorifies that the happiness part, you know. I've always said that happiness is such an overrated emotion. And we have to really be able to look beyond, you know, what's just shown in the social media.
I think it's the same for me as well. Like there are days when I just feel so low and you don't even want to even want to take pictures of yourself, you know. And you can't even look yourself in the mirror and you're just like feeling but we don't put that forward. Like I don't share that moments in the social media, and I really want to make it clear that all the pictures, and it is edited. Like my pictures are edited. Like I put filters on my pictures all the time, and it's, I think I don't find it as a way of like hiding myself. I think it's just a way to make yourself feel better as well. And I think everyone's doing it. So, and I don't really think about it too much, to be honest. But then there are days I don't share those days on social media. So that's just the way I protect myself, I guess.
Know, yeah. So, Miruna, in the midst of all these things, like to use, to not to use, is it good, is it bad, is it worse? All the debates that are going, you know, on day in and out. Like, how do you keep your true self intact? Like, how do you find that balance?
Okay, I think my true self is only known to myself and a very like limited amount of friends that I have. And I think it's very important to take some time off and. It's your choice, whether you choose to use it or not use it. It's your own choice, and there's no right or wrong answer for this. I think people use it for different purposes, and it's okay. And I think to not fall into the dark sides of it, I think you have to take some time off and be in tune with your emotions and your feelings and how you feel about yourself or your look or your, you know, like body and everything. It has to be, it all has to come down to yourself and enjoy solitude and just, you know, like find yourself. I think you have to take a time off, alone time.
Because social media in a way it messes up your head, right? Because there are a lot of, it's very easy to, you know, sit down in front of your laptop or behind your phones and then, you know, just pass opinion, whatever is in your head. You don't even have to filter and everything is just anonymous, right? So I think it in a way messes up with the head. So I feel, like you said, it's very important to find peace in your solitude.
Yeah, it is. And I think the sitting behind a computer, it's easy to share ideas. It has given us a voice, but we have to make sure that we're using it for the right purpose, and it's not just to bash someone else or, you know, like make hateful comments. And I think end of the day, I always talk about myself, but I think it all comes down to how you see yourself in your own eyes. That's how I see it. Like if you can comment on someone's picture saying really like bad mean things, and you come back, look into the mirror, and you can still have respect for yourself, then I like hats off to that person. But I don't think you would be able to do that. Like you can't look at yourself and like respect yourself. So self-respect, and it's very important.
You know, there's been a lot of researches apparently that says that social media also in a way instills mental health problems in people, which reminds me of, I have to say this, in a few days back when me and of course my friend Kailash, we were trying to pick out on the topics I could discuss here with you today. And he was like, you don't have to sound so serious all the time, you know, like, because the last 2 episodes were all about mental health, sexual abuse and all of that. So also PSA, I don't intend to sound serious at all. It's just that whatever topics I choose to speak about happens to be taken seriously. But of course it was all said in good tone, so no hate to my friend. But you know, again, here I am invariably speaking about mental health. But on the serious note, I feel like it's imperative we talk about it because you never know. maybe never, like maybe not always to a larger extent, but I feel like even if you mention about it, it's a lot, you know, because you never know how and what's going to help people in what ways.
Exactly.
Also the fact that I've had such personal, up close and personal experience with it, I feel, not to say that you need to have a personal experience to be empathetic or be respectful towards anything and everything in life, but just that mine has made me a bigger and better person. But coming back, social media, of course, is a lot of fun, you know, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and all of that. It's a lot of fun, and I feel like it's a great time to be alive, you know, with all the advent of new technologies, new ideas, creativity, and all of that. But we also cannot run away with the fact that it makes us very lonely at the same time, right?
I've actually been through that myself because I think it was around a year ago or something. Never showed it to social media because I was very scared. Like, you know how people, I think mental health is very, it's a topic that we don't talk about much, especially in the film, like film and TV. It's like everyone talks about your physical attributes and like, you know, you have to look a certain way, but no one asks you about how you maintain your mental health, you know. So I think it's very important to talk about it, and I've been through it myself, and it was such a dark time, I think, but when you come out of it, you become stronger, like you said. Like that was the time for me as well, but at that time I didn't look out to social media for that help, because I think there's people, like I said, I only share my happy moments in social media, so everyone does that, and no one shared, like, I think there's very few people who actually are very honest and share like everything with social media. So you have to, I think during that time, you have to go out to your friends or like, you know, people you trust and talk to them about it, and feel like you're not the only one. Like you have to think that you have to believe that you're not the only one suffering from it, and we do have to talk about it more. But I'm very scared to like voice out my opinions or you know, my ideas on social media, because I don't know how it's affecting my audience. That's what and I'm an like avid overthinker. So if I post something, I'm always thinking, okay, what is this person gonna think of? So that's why I don't really share my ideas about certain topics. So I think you have to, it's all about talking to the people you really trust, and not just don't focus on social media too much, even though I have to, I do, even though I do share a lot.
I do too. But yeah, like you said, we have to really, you know, be able to, like we've discussed all this time about finding that peace and solitude and all of that, because it definitely, if we have to talk about all the disabilities and disorder, social media in a way propel, perhaps not intentionally or consciously, but then it does, you know. The fact that now we are able to communicate with people it's not even almost, we communicate with people non-verbally, right? And it's not normal. Is it normal? I don't think it's ever normal, right? And the fact that we feel instinctual to feel the need to post everything we have on social media for people to see, so that, again, it's going on circle again, but so that we feel a sense of approval or validation through it. So it's not normal, guys. I think we need to stop.
I think it's like it can make you feel lonely, but at the same time make you feel like you have someone listening to you. So I think it works both ways. For some people who are not able to share it to their close friends or like say it out verbally, like you said, I think it gives them that space where they can, you know, like share themselves with the people they might not know, and they feel like they have a friend. So I think it has both like cons and pros, because for someone who is used to be very verbal and like very outgoing, and then they just become lonely because of that. It's just how you use it.
Yeah,
you have to know the pros and cons.
Yeah, true. I think we really have to be able to separate between perception and reality also, because like over apps and all, it's a perception of someone, right? And at the same time, the reality can be something else. So I feel like we have to know that, and if we do, we can be in a way sorted.
I think I'm a very bad person to answer all these questions, because I tend to stay very neutral about like a lot of things, and I'm not very like.
Yeah, like you said, opinionated.
Yeah, opinionated.
Are you scared that you might get a lot of, judgment?
No. It has always been that way. Like even if someone's doing something bad to me, I've always had this I don't know, way of defending them, like you know when you're supposed to get angry, right, when someone does something bad to you.
Yeah.
There's like this instant where I try to get angry at that person, but then I think, okay, maybe because that person's like, you know,
like this, so maybe I don't have to act that.
Yeah, because I overthink
way.
a lot, and I just keep thinking about, like, I contradict myself a lot. So that is why I tend to stay very neutral, because that helps me, like, you know, look at things from both perspectives.
I feel like I'm just the opposite. I'm working on it definitely, but I tend to react on things very quickly.
No,
I get aggressive
I'm working
very
on
fast.
the opposite. Yeah. Like there are certain instances where I'm supposed to react and I am not able to do that. And I'm just like, oh my God, I need to react. I don't know. And then I go home and then I was like, okay, this is what I should have
done
said.
That.
So that's what happens to me.
Yeah, just the opposite for me. Yeah, like I said, because I like my sister is just the opposite of me. You know, she's a bit mellowed and she takes her time to analyze the situation, the things, and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely trying to do that. I feel like I need to learn from you also.
I need to learn from you. We need to share some tips with one another.
Yeah, we can do that over a coffee. Perhaps after this podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we've come to the end of the show now.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Miruna. It was great. It was lovely talking to you. And
Thank
I laughed
you.
a lot today. You know what?
Thank you. It wasn't serious.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely being here.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next episode. Also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I need to get a hang of it. So, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.